Let's take a look at scoring the observation using the tool for Mr. Willaby's 6th grade ELA lesson. Remember, the tool is set up in 5 sections. The first section is general information. The second section gathers student engagement trends during the first 5 minutes of the lesson. The third section gathers data regarding the fidelity observation components. The fourth section is used during the last 5 minutes of the lesson to gather student engagement trends. And the fifth section will be the summary section. You can navigate back and forth on the pages using the buttons at the bottom of your page until you get to the submission page. You'll see a red stop sign that will let you know once you pass that and hit the next button for the summary section, you'll be unable to use back buttons and not be able to go back in the tool. The first question on the page includes the region or public school unit. Mr. Willaby teaches in the Northwest region. Each region is listed in the drop-down menu. Next, I need to indicate in which the district Mr. Willaby teaches. He teaches in Wilkes County Schools. Also, I need to tell the name of the school in which the teacher teaches and his name. He completed Reading Research to Classroom Practice in 2019 and also completed program training by a certified instructor in 2019. Next, I add my name and email. Be sure to type your email correctly. The next section asks for the observation date and time. Remember, when you type these in, you have to type them in using the format conventions. Otherwise, it won't let you move to the next page in the tool nor submit. Mr. Willaby and I did have a pre-conference date, and this was the first observation for Mr. Willaby at this school. This is not a co-taught lesson, and he teaches in 6th grade. The curriculum being used for this lesson includes a strategy called ACE the Question Strategy. It wasn't listed, so I clicked Other and added ACE the Question Strategy in the text box. The next section will be for the first 5 minutes of the lesson, gathering trends about student engagement. There are about 18 students in this class, and of those 18, about 15 were working on tasks they were instructed to do when responding to the teacher during the first 5 minutes of the lesson. I noticed about 3 of the students were talking with peers and not listening during the times they needed to be in the first 5 minutes of the lesson. Mr. Willaby used whole class instruction for all students in the first 5 minutes, and also the students worked in small groups. Section 3 includes the fidelity observation components. For each one of the components, I'm going to use this following scale. 0 indicates the skill was not demonstrated when it was expected to be or when there was a missed opportunity. A score of 3 indicates that it's being appropriately implemented. The first section includes questions related to practices that support the science of learning to read and spell. For number 1 and 3, we indicated a score of 3. For number 2, we observed that the lesson demonstrated some of the gradual release components. We scored number 1 of 3 for teaching an evidence-based program strategy or routine, But to be honest, we're not really sure about the ACE question strategy, so we need to verify the research around the ACE strategy. And number 3, we observed all 3 explicit, multisensory, and systematic pieces of instruction. For number 2, we did observe the lesson included using I do and y'all do within the gradual release of instruction sequence, which is why we scored that a 2. The notation box is really important because it gives me details about the instruction and data to help determine next steps and strengths of the lesson. Be sure to take detailed notes. So the notes that we took for the observation of instructional practices that support signs of learning to read and spell included the following: teaching a strategy called the ACE strategy and key vocabulary using the strategy, and students also used the strategy. The lesson provided multisensory methods in that it used pictures, text, orally reading the passage, and also hearing and speaking as multisensory methods. Again, taking annotations and notes in this text box is very important for coaching purposes. We can move past the sections for the structure of language, comprehensive assessment system, phonological awareness, and phonics, because these were not components that we expected to see in this lesson. However, we could expect to see components of syllable structure, instruction, and spelling were able to identify a missed opportunity for number 15. We scored this lesson a 1 for syllable types because there was a missed opportunity. The lesson missed an opportunity to reference syllable types for the word concentration. The teacher orally pronounced the word in syllables but did not bring attention to the syllable types. We didn't expect to observe any components for fluency within this lesson. We did expect to see components within vocabulary instruction for this particular lesson. So for number 22, the lesson had a missed opportunity to provide direct instruction of important vocabulary through pre-teaching. Also for number 23, the lesson encouraged the use of text to determine the meaning of words, but didn't assist to determine the meaningful parts or more themes, which is why we scored it a level 1. The lesson could have included information about morphemes. Number 24 and 25 were scored a 3 because we found evidence of both of these. The next section includes observation of comprehension components within the lesson. We scored the lesson a 3 for number 26 because the lesson included explicit instruction for the ACE strategy. Number 27 was scored a 2 because the text structure was not explained, not directly taught. We scored number 28 through 32 all 3 because the lesson included evidence of all 3 of these. He identified the purpose for reading multiple times. The discussions were between students and teachers, as well as students and students. During the first read, the lesson used close for responding to literacy questions, and the lesson included question, answer, cite, expand, turn and talk, and oral responses. So again, it's very important to take detailed notes about why you're scoring something the way you are. The last 5 minutes of the lesson are reserved for the second student observation component. During the last 5 minutes, we observed there were 18 students in the class, and of those, about 16 were on task. 16 or 17 were on task, and about 2 were off task. Again, it included whole class instruction during the last 5 minutes of the lesson, as well as students working in small groups during the last 5 minutes. The next section is the summary section, section 5 of 5. I need to record the time the observation ended, and then we begin to make notes about the strengths from the lesson. I can navigate back to each part of the sections within the fidelity observation in order to pull these notes. I can also expand these boxes. So for this particular lesson, we noted the following strengths. The lesson included explicit instruction with the A strategy and included multisensory components, including hearing and speaking. From our notations within the fidelity observation section, we found the following as next possible steps. A next step could be to provide a booster session on the first staff development day for middle school staff to review the syllable types, as well as another booster session on the second staff development day to review strategies to explicitly pre-teach vocabulary, because these two areas are trends that we have found based on our classroom observation data from other classes as well in this school. Remember, once you submit, you can't use the back button. On this page, you'll see the submission instructions. So now that I'm here, you'll notice I don't have the back button. I can't go back into the sections in order to find any information. I must hit submit in order to complete the observation. Once you hit submit, you'll be given a summary of your responses that we highly recommend you download and save at that time. At the bottom of the form, you'll see the average fidelity score based on the responses that we provided. You may use this form to assist you during the post-observation conference and subsequent coaching. Mr. Willaby's average fidelity score is 2.4. Once I hit submit, I see I can download at the top of the screen, and I want to do that in order to keep these for my records. Thank you for watching.